All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mack, Play Fast Football. Sorry I haven't done a longer YouTube video in a while. Start of the school year, start of the season. A lot going on, a lot of things that make it a little bit tougher to do. We've had some crazy weather with some issues in our equipment room where I filmed some of my stuff. So back at it now. Today we're going to talk about some of our 3-4 stuff and some of the things we do with our jack linebacker to get us in and out of the deals that we want to get in and out of. Make sure you check out some of our partners, GameStrat, sideline replay company we use. I use in the last 5 years at all the programs I've been at. Every drive that ends for us on defense, as soon as that drive's over, I get right on the GameStrat, get right on the sideline replay so we can go over stuff with our players, fix what we need to fix. So if you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable, make sure you check out GameStrat. Dome Hats, a headwear sponsor of Play Fast Football and all the high schools that I have been at in my tenure as a head football coach and an assistant football coach. They are custom. You build a hat, you design the hat. You can build it in different styles, different enclosures, anything you want. They can do it for you, so make sure you check out Dome Hats. Stock hats suck. Baker Sporting Goods company we use for a lot of our equipment deals, uniform deals. So this is one of our football shirts. It's a Nike shirt this year. We are in Nike stuff this year. So they carry Adidas, they carry Under Armour, they carry Nike. You can use them for your fan gear, your coaching gear, your sideline gear, your practice gear, spirit packs, all that good stuff. Make sure you check out Baker Sports. Modern Football, which helps you with in-game analytics, right? As a play caller, it is helping you adjust to what is going on in the game, and it makes it easier for your staff during the week. It makes tagging things a lot easier, and more importantly, as a play caller, for me, like if you're going into a game and you got a game plan versus a bunch of 12 personnel stuff, and all of a sudden they're in more 11 personnel stuff, you need to be able to improvise and adjust and adapt quickly without having to look at notes or anything that you have handwritten down. You can get it immediately, play by play, series by series, drive by drive, make the adjustments you need to make, change the game plan the way you need to change it as the game goes. All right, the game plan kind of changes a little bit, maybe the score, maybe the conditions of the game, maybe the offense or the other team you're playing is doing things differently. Modern Football can help you with that, being used in high schools across the country. It's being used in college programs, so make sure you check out Modern Football. FlyRoute Drones, drone angles for me are the best teaching angles possible. We use them for practice all the time. Don't currently use them for games because there's some legality issues to it based on where you're at in the country and where you're at in your state or what your governmental rules may be, but we use them in practice all the time, and it's the best teaching angle for me. FlyRoute Drones is the best athletic drone company in the business. Make sure you check them out. You can go to www.flyroute.com, tell them Play Fast sent you, and you can get some 20% off or a discount on your certification courses. Brandtek, company that has made shoes for me, they've made pullovers for me, they've made some sublimated items for me. They also are big right now during the football season. They've got their Sport Fresh deal going on with their microbials that are disinfecting locker rooms, they're disinfecting equipment, they're disinfecting gyms and benches, and also making it smell a little bit better along the way. So if you want to stay ahead of the game with staph infection and all the things that go around during a football season, make sure you check out Brandtek. Make sure you check out their Sport Fresh deal that they've got going on. And then DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. You get thousands of reps, don't need a partner. We have them in our weight room. You hook them up right to the racks that are currently in your weight room. If you want to strike violently, you have to practice striking violently. So most of you guys know the last couple videos that we've done, we went from 3-3, 3-high stuff to more 3-4 stuff. It was personnel based. It was based on some of the teams we were playing, some of the things that we were seeing. So in our base package with our 3-4 stuff, we still play a ton of tight front, all right? And then we use the jack as a fourth rusher week. And we start in our package with the jack linebacker. He has base rules. If he has a single receiver, he's going to be part of the rush, okay? And if he's a single receiver, we are playing all of our base split field coverages, so all our calls that we would normally make. So if we had a single receiver from this side, all right, the jack is up and he's part of the rush, which basically puts us into a version of reduction front. Based on the team that we are playing and based on the matchup, we may leave this front alone in the tight front stuff and only tighten down the anchor to a 3 technique with the jack coming. We may let the nose and the end play base tight front rules, again, depending on the game plan, depending on who we're playing, depending on the opponent. We have also moved them away from the jack, which has basically put us into under front. For us, we keep the nickel, all right? We don't exactly play a 9 technique like true under front, but our nickel is a D-gap versus 21 personnel. The nickel becomes a D-gap. Force player, he's a flat player. He's got to carry first to the flat. He's got to carry the wheel of 2 if he gets it, all right? And then we normally play some version of quarters behind it. right? So for us, our quarters is heavily involving the safety and run fits. So the nickel has first to the flat, safety has 2 vertical. If the tight end is going to put his hands on anybody, then our safety is a run fitter there. That's how we get an extra body in the box. But we also have played this as a true, all right, zone deal, quarter deal, where we play the safety a lot looser off of the tight end run blocks, and he actually just defended the post on the inside quarter while the corner defends the outside quarter. And we do that versus RPO teams that are trying to pop a lot of the glance stuff back in here. All right, because when we play our true quarters deal, we get an extra fitter in the box, but our corner ends up becoming a mod player. So he's man on all the deep routes. He's kind of out there on an island. When you start getting RPOs with the tight end blocking, all right, when we play true quarters and we trigger, that's a lot of room for that one-on-one with the corner out there. So based on our opponent, whether or not we feel good enough in the box with an 8-man front to handle runs, or whether they have a dude out there in the RPO game that we've got to protect, we also can zone that side. All right, and when we zone that side, we play it more like an umbrella quarters deal. So it's not quarters by rule. For me, the way I would play quarters, it's not pattern match. It is nickel's got the flat, we've got the outside quarter, safety has the inside quarter. Once the jack is involved on the backside, we've got all our deals, so we can spin down and play 8-man front with the safety. We can put the corner down there, and we can play cover 2 with the safety off the half, and now the corner's the flat player, right? We can bracket. All right, we can bracket that single receiver and make like everybody plays their kind of cone deal there, where it's a read based on 1 in, safety cuts it, corner's extra, 1 out, corner's got it man-to-man, safety becomes extra. So everything we want to do to the single, because we know the jack is involved in the rush because he has a single receiver. All right, we also involve the jack sometimes back there with the anchor. So sometimes we'll take the anchor out and we'll bring the jack under. All right, just part of what we're trying to do to get some movement for the jack. It's one of our better players on defense, one of our better athletes. He's a better player down and moving, so we want to try and give him an opportunity to be that kind of player. Now, within our base package, we also have, rules built in where if we get 2 receivers, so a lot of times we'll get flanker, all right, or we'll get tight end flank and we'll get it away from the passing strength. So if our nickel were to set the passing strength to the speed, and we set the passing strength there, all right, now in the old 3-3, 3 high stuff, we were getting into lighter boxes. Now what we have the ability to do with the jack linebacker is if he gets 2 receivers, he can now become part of the coverage component, and now we can play, all right, on the jack side, if he becomes part of the coverage, right, so if he gets 2 receivers, he can be a coverage player, and that's part of our base deal. Right, so now that he's part of the coverage package, if this side was a tight end flank, we could choose to play that as quarters. And now if we play it as quarters, he assumes the same role that the nickel had in quarters. So now the jack is your D-gap flat, the D-gap force player in the run game. He's also your flat player, carry the wheel. And now we're playing quarters where our safety is going to be an extra run fitter. We are playing a mod technique out on number 1 with the corner, whether we play it from off or press, right? But it gives us the ability to do that. If 2 was removed, now it gives us the ability to play 2 read, use the jack like we would use the nickel, right? So now we can take the jack and make him, all right, that push 3 player in 2 read, and now we can play our palms deal out there, right? So when we were getting a lot of 2x2 and 3 in our tight front 3 high deals, we were getting a lot of 2x2 with tight end flanker away from twins. All right, and people were trying to get us into lighter boxes. They were attacking that structure. So this gives us a chance to handle all the 2x2 sets because we can use the jack as a coverage player if we choose to. Now, we can also tag the jack that we want him gone no matter what. And now when the jack is gone, what we end up doing is we become almost like we become a 4-2-5 team. Now if the jack is gone, then the will has to assume his coverage responsibility. So now we'll play 2 read with the will walked out because we know that the jack is going. So our base rule versus 2 receivers is the jack is going to be a coverage player. But if we want to tag the jack to go and become a 4-down team, all right, when we do that, then the will assumes the jack's coverage responsibilities. And again, we played this to where only the anchor was moving to the 3 technique, and we've let these guys play tight front rules. We've also played it where we've moved them and made it true slant and angle, and now we get into basically under front. So game plan, personnel, who we're playing, who our kids are, kind of dictates how we play it all right, from week to week. Now, the other thing that we've done is we've got to, all right, we've got to a point where now we can send a jack from the passing strength. All right, so now we've built calls in for our jack linebacker to where we can send a jack from the passing strength or from the field if we want to. All right, so one simple tag tells the jack that he's going to come from the field. Okay, and now that the jack's coming from the field, that's different. Normally you see him coming from the boundary, you see him coming from the weak side. Now he's coming from the passing strength, so that makes that makes other teams that are scouting against us tendency-wise. Now you've got to figure out where the jack's going to be. If he's the fourth rusher from this side again, the end becomes the 3 technique. We can choose to play base tight front, or we can choose to move those guys. Now what that does is that basically puts us in an over structure. All right, if we are now with the 3 and the 5 to the passing strength side, or whatever the strength side you want to consider it, now we're kind of in an over front. I know without a tight end, if you draw it with a tight end, you can see it a little bit clearer, right? So if this was a tight end, and what we would do is we would bring the jack into a 7. So if this was a tight end and we sent the jack from the strength, right, now we're basically in that over front deal where we've got a 3, a 7, end up with a shade and a 5 if we move to it and we don't play it from tight front. Now you can see how that gets us from an under structure or a reduction structure into an over structure just by bringing the jack to the field. Again, we can play the game. We like it a lot more versus open than we do 3-man surfaces. We won't do it, but we can play the game with the jack now at the end. So we bring the jack, we make the call to bring the jack to the field. The end's out, the jack's under, so now we get a movement game with the jack there, right? So all we're trying to do within our 3-4 is we're trying to build in simple rules to where we can bring the jack from different places while still playing our base components. Our will linebacker knows, all right, if the jack is gone, all right, then the will has to assume his coverage responsibilities. So any calls we have that tag the jack, the will now knows, and the safety on that side knows he's got to get the will involved in the coverage structure because the jack is gone. We have the base rule to drop the jack first 2 receivers on his side, but we also have ways where we can send a jack. If I send a jack from the field and we're going to end up getting, let's say, tight end flank away, all right, but I've already declared that the jack's coming from the field, well, now we've got to figure out how we want to play that backside. All right, do we walk the will out to assume that he becomes the D-gap force player and now he's the fly player that carries the wheels if we don't like our will doing that? All right, if we're not happy with how the will does that, or some of you, maybe you don't teach your will to do that. If you leave them in the box, now your choices are spin down to get to 8-man front and bring him back to the middle, or if you want to stay split field into the boundary, you could clamp that side into the boundary if you wanted to, or like old 4-2-5 stuff, you can kind of lock the safety and play man, lock the corner and play man. Now you've got to get your safety involved if that tight end is a blocker. But anytime the jack is part of the deal, all right, anytime the jack is part of the deal for us, the will assumes his coverage responsibilities, right? So anytime we go from 3 down to 4 down using the jack, the will has to assume his coverage responsibilities. So now we've built in ways in our 3-4 to get the jack from the weak side. All right, we get the jack to twist. We get the jack off the edge. We get him to bring inside. We get the jack to the field. We can twist the jack from the field back inside. So all we're doing is finding different ways to move. All right, for us, that's like the offensive player that they're trying to move around. That's like, if you're trying to get Travis Kelce into matchups and he's lined up wide to get a matchup, then he's in a slot, then he trades, then he motions, Cooper Kupp, whoever that is. You're just trying to get your dude. Well, that's what we're doing on defense. We're trying to get one of our best dudes matchups that we like and bringing him from different places depending on the offense that we're seeing. All right, and then our tendencies say that we bring him from there all the time. All right, that you could get into a world where now all of a sudden everybody knows you bring him away from the nickel or from the pass or from the boundary, and now all of a sudden you get into a world where he can come from different spots. All right, I could also see, and this is the first way I kind of learned it watching college and NFL stuff. I could see it to where you got the jack involved somehow in the middle of the defense. All right, so now that if you were, whatever your base structures were, somehow you get the jack involved in the middle if you want to take advantage of maybe a center matchup or something where you want to plug the jack, right? So you want to work a game off the nose with the center. all right, and now get the jack to plug inside. Once you do that, the jack is gone, the wheel assumes his coverage, so now the wheel would be out here playing 2 reed, the nickel's playing 2 reed, the Mike's the 3 vertical player, so now you're kind of back into that 4-2-5 split field coverage structure, right? So all you got to do is have the terminology to bring the jack from the different places you want to bring him, whether it's the weak side, passing strength side, somewhere up the middle, whatever it was. They, the Gators used to do it with Dante Fowler a bunch. They called it, like, when I learned it, when they spoke at a clinic and I learned it from them, I think they called it like their spinner deal or something like that. So you're basically just taking your 4th rusher and figuring out where you want to bring him from to create the matchups that you want to create. For us, that's the jack linebacker in the 3-4. That's what we try to do from week to week. We're trying to add to our package to find different places that the jack can add himself while we still play base coverage behind it. So off to a pretty good start this year. We are currently 3-1, lost last Friday in a great high school football game, 35-28, which is going to be really good for our players. Challenging environment, really good football team, a bunch of really good high school football players, great coaching staff. They do a great job. So had a chance to win the game, didn't get it done, but it's going to help us down the road because we ran into some scenarios and situations defensively that we've got to be able to not only handle, but improvise and adjust and figure out how to get guys on the field, get more guys on the field, how to get some guys off the field. So great scenario for us, but off to a great start. The 3-4 is doing really, really well for us, putting us in a lot of great positions the first 4 games of the year. So we're using our personnel really well. So it's been good to us. So I know it's different from our 3-3-3 high stuff, but like I said, as a coordinator, as a coach, year to year, you got to change. You can't be in the same thing. That's why I've never really preached a system. Your system has to be able to evolve. It's got to be able to adapt, and we've adapted to more of a 3-4 team with a jack as a 4th rusher, and we can still play our base deals on the back end. So I hope your season is going well. I appreciate everything you guys do for me, and play fast. Again, first video of length in a long time, but hopefully I'll be able to get a bunch more of these out. I've also been doing some week-by-week drive-by-drive deals on Patreon, on a Patreon subscriber site, where I've been taking guys through the calls we've made and literally watching film of us play the first couple weeks. So if you're interested in Patreon, you can check that out at www.patreon.com/Coach Mac. It is a subscription site because I do show film on there more so than stuff that I do on YouTube. So hope your season's going well. I hope everybody's healthy. I hope your weather is good. We've had 18 inches of rain in the last 17, 18 days in Florida, so it's been absolutely wild with fields and grass fields and practice facilities. So hopefully the weather's good. Hopefully you're healthy. Hopefully you're winning games. Appreciate everything you guys do for me. Thanks for being here. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. See you guys next time.